Anyway, I'm going to tell a little bit about a guy that I knew who lived at a nursing home in Boston. His name was Ken Eglin, and he figured in a pretty big way into an ongoing project that I did called the Duplex Planet that I started in 1979. There was conversations with residents at this one nursing home in Boston. And it was a 45-bed, all-male nursing home in a residential neighborhood, closed like all places like that are now. And I met Ken on the first day that I worked there. I took a job there after I was in art school. I needed to have a job that wasn't scooping ice cream or delivering flowers, and this sufficed for a couple of years until I realized I didn't make a good employee, but that I liked all these people there. And the first day I met Ken Eglin, who would always sit by the desk of the person who was the activities director, and he identified more with anybody who was working there than anybody who was living there. He felt like, I got to know what's going on out there, out on the street, and sit by the window. And he, I came to know him pretty well, and he was born in 1915, so at that time he was 64, which seemed like a bigger number to me then than it does now. And he had tap danced in Boston in clubs. He had grown up in Cambridge, and he tap danced in the era when you could make pocket money doing tap dancing. And he hung out with Lester Young and Billie Holiday, and would go and see bands, and just loved music and hanging out. He never really had much of a career. He worked for the CCC. He did some lifeguarding, and he was in and out of the service a couple times under questionable exiting motives. But anyway, at some point, with his love of music, I started playing him music. I would bring in a Walkman. They were new then, and I'd bring in a tape of songs for him to hear and play them for him. And at first I just did it because I thought he would like to hear some music, and then it became something that I formalized as a music review column called Ken's Corner that ran in the Duplex Planet. It was like that. That's Ken. You can't really see it from there. Sort of. This is as close as I'm ever going to come to PowerPoint. I'm never doing PowerPoint. I don't even like the word. The best thing about PowerPoint is that the word is a trade name. It's not really a thing, so they'll lose control of that word. But anyway, I would do these. This music review column ran in the Duplex Planet, then it ran in a number of other places around the country. And it was really Ken just responding to music that I would play for him, and I wasn't doing it in kind of a, wouldn't it be goofy to play music for an old guy? I was playing stuff that he would find a way into, because he really did want to hear new music, which was something that was disappearing from my contemporaries by the time by 5 years later, by the time people were 30. So this guy struck me as being very healthy, even though he needed a walker to get around. And he would find whatever element that he knew and cared about in the music that he already knew. He would find that in music I would play for him. If it had bluesiness or soulfulness or swing, some emotional component, he would find a way in. So he liked Captain Beefheart. He liked. That was blues. King Crimson he did not like. What I'm going to do now is just read you some of their short reviews. I would play him a song. He would just tell me his thoughts, and I would write it down, and then I would formalize it into the review column. Carl Perkins' Blue Suede Shoes. Oh man, that is great. I heard that so many times. You wouldn't believe this. They had a Tom McCann shoe store in Central Square. I come home all the way there from Harvard Square because the place was going to close. I bought up 8 pair of blue suede shoes. And on top of that, I went and bought yellow suedes, white suedes, brown. I bought all the suedes I could get my hands on. Now they're in storage. They're all brand new and in storage. I couldn't wear them because my feet was all swelled up, so I put them away in storage with all the rest of my stuff. I kept them in their boxes, though. Riders in the Sky, Blue Shadows on the Trail, an old song played by them. That is home. That's home. Boy, that's home. That's like being back in Arizona. It's like being home. Blue shadows on the trail. We say plains. When you're riding along on the desert, we say plains. But that's all right. It's a beautiful song. That goes back now. The shadows on the trail. That goes back to Ted Lewis and Me and My Shadow. He sees his shadow and he follows it and he sings Me and My Shadow. You can't touch it. You think you can, but you can't. You touch it and it's gone. Now, Shadows on the Trail is the same as Ted Lewis singing Me and My Shadow. Do you realize that he went through 13 shadows? Oh man, they all died, except for the 14th one, which he never got to. But he became a shadow and he died, and that was the end of it. I don't believe in shadows when I see him. I tell you the truth, Dave. Every shadow I see, I think of Ted Lewis. No matter where I am, on the train, the bus, anywhere. I got it so bad sometimes I think he's sitting right on the bus with me. The Beach Boys all summer long. Hey, that's all right. Beats everything. Everything's nice. Who was that? It's the Beach Boys. That figures. I should have figured that out. They got a sound of their own. They're not wild and crazy like I get. They're cool. They're cool boys. Very cool. And they stay with the rhythm. There's one tempo and you can't lose it. The beat is right. Man, it's been a long time since I heard them, though. I had 2 or 3 records of the Beach Boys, and they broke. Rita and Frosty got them up in the music shop in Harvard Square, and they brought them home, and the kids played around and knocked them off the table, and they broke, and I never did replace them. Kids broke a lot of my records. That sounds orchestral.
Very orchestral.
All right, I got to find the thing that works with that. That's got to be Tony Bennett. I played with Tony Bennett. That's got to be Tony Bennett. I had to stop and think for a minute, but I got it. When it comes to that kind of melody, you got to stop and think. I almost said Frankie, but no, it wasn't. It was Tony Bennett. Tony Bennett is no Hollywood. He's a good-natured boy. His personality is way different from Frank Sinatra's. Oh man, yes, his personality is altogether different. It's like meeting someone out on the corner, one of the gang. And you can talk with him. He doesn't talk foolish. And you know it's him. You can talk to Tony. But Frankie, oh man, you got to be in the money. You got to have the money and you got to know the boys. Like George Raft. When George Raft says the mob, he means the mob. There. I played him some Elvis Presley and he said, he is terrific. That kid is terrific. It's great. He was just great. That's all. There was nobody but him. He was the best, the most. Nobody could top him. Not even Bing Crosby. Too bad that he had to die young. Every song he sang was my ideal. It was it with me. Hymns, everything he sang was great. The greatest. I rate him over Bing Crosby. I really do, honest to God. I don't know how the heck Tom Jones thinks he can ever sing like that boy. I mean, no way. I don't rate him at all. He had a couple of hits, but every song Elvis Presley ever made was it. There's no question about that. You know that. The world knows that. That boy was the wake-up of the United States. He woke up the United States good. We were all deadbeats until Elvis Presley came along. There was nothing out there. Everybody was walking around the streets like deadbeats until Elvis came along. And they still would have been deadbeats if Ed Sullivan hadn't put him on the show. But he told him, before he put him on, he said, you can't shake your hips. And he come out, and he just played like a deadbeat. No movement. That wasn't Elry at all. I saw the show, and people said, come on, get with it, Elry. And he looked over at Ed Sullivan, and Ed Sullivan said, go, man, go. And oh my God, I cried that night. People was jumping all over the place. Everybody was screaming. Even the TV fans. Everybody. My house was rocking. Roland Kirk, The Inflated Tear. Hello! Crazy, crazy. Man, I never heard anything like that. I heard Ben Webster play some wild things, but not like this. This was too much. It's all right. I would buy it so I could hear more of it. You can't hear this on the radio. You got to go out there, out on the street. That's where everything is. It's outside, not in the house. Professor Longhair, Big Chief, Part 2. Very nice. Look, you got to jump with that. You couldn't lose it. The bass was very good. It was right there. Everything was timed beautiful. Everything was right in the groove. Oh man, could I dance with that? Throw that girl around the air? It gets you when you're stuck here. See, my right leg is what's holding me up. The left leg won't do it. I got to help it, or I got to have help. It's going to get there again, though. I know, because I got that confidence. I got confidence in myself. I got to. You don't know how many times I've wanted to get up and dance across the patio here. but I got these rubber sole shoes on. I got this walker. But someday I'm going to get it, and I'm going to go, and I'm going to walk. I'm going to. Frank Sinatra, you go to my head. Well, he is great. He's getting songs to sing today that he should have had 20 years ago. He's a millionaire today, and he don't do shit. He's not as hot-headed as he used to be. He's quieted down. He just makes a couple records a year. Once they start making records, they don't stop unless they die, like Bing Crosby. Bunky and Jake, If I Had a Dream by Bunky and Jake. Oh, that is fabulous. That is fabulous. I'd buy it 100%. Everything was beautiful. The guitar, the singing, the rhythm, everything was right. If we played music like this back in the 30s, the police, the Irish cops would raise hell with us. Now, what I'm trying to tell you, segregation, it was a bitch. They couldn't stand me dancing with the white girls. We'd be doing the Lindy Hop on the Boston Common, going wild, smoking reefers. We called them reefers back then. Now they call it marijuana. We'd be dancing, and along comes a pounder, which is a cop, and he says, "All right, now break it up." He couldn't stand it. I had the girl sitting on my knee. Sometimes you run into a cop saying, "Hey, that's my cousin you're dancing with, boy." On a similar subject, I played him NRBQ's Wacky Tobacco. It's crazy. It's nice. Wacky Tobacco. Reefers. Today they call it marijuanas, but we used to call it reefers. You'd go to jail if you got caught with reefers, but not today. They smoke it right at Park Street, Washington Street, all the subway stations. Any subway station you go in, they're blowing reefers. It's a very common thing. Wacky Tobacco, that is pot. It's a crazy song. It's nice. I like it. It'll keep you high smoking those. Pipe smoker or rolling it, good stuff. You know, that stuff is better than liquor. Smoking hemp is way better than liquor. Oh my God, yes, to me, it is way better. It makes me want to dance. I could dance on forever. To tell you the truth, Dave, I get tired and I don't even know it when I'm on it. Chuck Berry's Run, Rudolph, Run. You know, I had an idea sooner or later they would do something with that Rudolph song. Now that's pretty good. They did a very good job of it, whoever made that record. Now some people aren't going to like it, I know that, but I like it. I knew they'd change that Rudolph song. I had a feeling some time ago. When I heard it the first time, it was just too dead. It was those kids out there, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. I knew they were going to jazz it up, and they did a very good job with it right here. Anybody know who Conlon Nancarrow is? He composed music, player piano music. All right, forget it. I'm not going to do that. The Residents?
Yeah, Residents.
Laughing Song by the Residents. That was weird. It was weird, but there was something about it that made the Three Stooges come to my mind. They're all gone, died. Didn't you know that? Moe finally died. I felt bad. He was the head man. Red Rhodes, who's a steel guitar player. Red Rhodes and the Detours. Kentucky Woman, cover of the Neil Diamond song. I played for him. A Kentucky woman won't hurt you. She loves you. Man, you're in trouble. You don't hit women. They're sweet. They're kind. Kentucky woman, she's not mean unless you get her mean. And then get the hell out of town because you'll have everybody chasing you. They'll knock you down and stomp you. It's their way. I believe they would still do that today. Don't cheat on them. No, be true to them. Always be true. The Red Crayola band? Okay. They did a song called Wives in Orbit. Nice. I'm out in space now. That is space. That is great. I like that. I could sit around and listen to that all day and keep tapping my feet. It's got my rhythm. Let me tell you something. The God's honest truth. I've told only one doctor this before. Now, when I go into a seizure, sometimes I hear things. I hear weird music. Stuff like this. They're banging something. I don't know what. Banging clouds. I don't see nothing in front of me. Not for a while. Honest to God. When I go into a spell, a seizure, I see things nobody else sees. And you hear a drum beating, just like that music. A weird kind of music. You Can Never Go Down the Drain by Mr. Rogers. Where'd you get that? That's cute. I like it. You can never go down the drain. Oh man, how true that is. Only a damn fool would let that happen to them, and that'll never happen to me. Thelonious Monk, Coming on the Hudson. Lovely. That's a number you could sit there and sip a dry martini with tears in your eyes and a girl with her head on your shoulder, and you're looking at her and you can't see nothing. That's the kind of music that drives you mad if you let it. And you can't help it. It will get you eventually. You think it's going to get away from you, that you got it beat, but no, it's got you beat. That's why I personally never try to beat jazz or swing, because I know it will get me each time. Lydia Lunch? Okay. Atomic Bongos by Lydia Lunch. Now that was a sex beat. That's more or less what she's talking about. It's all right. I get the feeling it's a girl singing to a boy, and it's got to be about sex. That's all I can think of. It's got a good tempo. It's a sex beat. Gets you all wild and confused, and you're ready to jump with the beat. And she's got you where she wants you, and that's it. You belong to her. Sometimes he didn't like things. Here's an example of that. Gary Lewis and the Playboys, This Diamond Ring. That I would not buy, but it sounds all right. Some more horns in there would have helped a little bit, and changed the tempo a little too, and a better singer too, who could have come more clear with it. All those words I couldn't get. You could change a lot of the lyrics in there too. He was singing the same thing and the same notes the whole way through. It was corn. They had a tempo in there, but I couldn't get with it. They got to switch it around. I don't mean all the way around, just halfway.
Other than
like I said before, he liked Captain Beefheart. Am I the right volume with the music? Okay, all
That's a
right.
nice background.
Okay, because it's louder here. Because it's right. Use it. Go with it. Yeah, go with the rhythm. Captain Beefheart and his magic band doing Abba Zaba. That's like a magic song. I don't know the first thing that man was saying. It sounded like Phoeba Shoo. It's got to be a magic song, some kind of freakish song going on saying Phoeba Shoo, whatever that means. Well, that's like Dizzy Gillespie. He came out with that kind of talk. Some guys knew what he was talking about, and they talked back. They talked with him, mostly musicians. Phoeba Shoo. Captain Beefheart, Buggy Boogie Woogie. Too many feet, a broom, too many feet. I thought he was going to say $2 bill for this filthy room, but he didn't say it. That's how my mind was running. It's all right, though. I like it. He had the blues all right. In his pausing at certain times, it gave you time to think. You could think of it as a dirty record, but anybody with a sense wouldn't do that. I like that record. He tricked me, though. He said $2 bill, and I got to sweet. I thought he was going to say a $2 bill for this filthy room. It was too short, though. It was good while it lasted, but it was short. Could have stood another lyric added in. It was too short, but it was all right the way it was. Blues is just always the best. And one more Beefheart song, Tropical Hot Dog Night. That is the beach stuff of today. Yes, indeed. That's the way it's going to be. That's a foreign song. That sounded, Cuban. I couldn't say it's West Indian because that sounded like some form or another of Cuban music. The song is great. It's the truth, though, about eating frankfurters on the beach. And the girls, oh man, everything is right because they're serving hot dogs over on this side, and on the other side they're serving popcorn, and everything is going crazy. They're half naked and dancing, and oh man, no shoes on your feet, bare feet, skirts. Oh man, they're sweating like hell, and nobody cares. Who cares about body odor? That music is driving them mad. I've seen this myself get tangled like this. I'm sitting there laying on my blanket, and I got the beat in my body, in my blood, and I look over to one side of me, and there's a blonde girl with long hair, way down her back, and she's got the bikini on and shaking it up. She's tearing up the world, and you got to get up and get in the same beat that she's got, and there you are. You got it made. Go in style. Swing and sway. There you are. You're gone. 96 years, he says. 96 years. I don't know what he means by that, though. 96 years. Another misheard one. Graham Parker and the Rumor, Discovering Japan. Carburation pan. What's he mean by that? Got a beat going there pretty good, but I couldn't figure out what he meant. trying to figure out what he meant by that. Carburation pan, never heard of it. Sam and Dave, soul man. He's a soul man, a single man. Probably his old lady packed her bag and walked away, and they're doing that left and right these days. A lot of girls aren't saying I do, they're living with the man, common law. That's the biggest thing going today. And it's the students that started it, and they leave, and you're alone, and then you're a soul man. The Stooges, real cool time. Have a real poor time tonight. Never heard of it, but what he means by that, I don't know. He's gonna hang out with some draggy chicks. A real poor time. Oh man, they gotta find a way to get him, bring the life right back to him. AAWW, I played it. Hey, wait a minute. I heard some singing like that, but I don't know who it is. Let me see if I know who it is. She's my life, whatever he meant by that. It must be a girl. It's all right, it'll go. It's bound to go, sure it is. I like it, singing was nice. She's my life. That's what he was saying. Never heard it before, but boy, it's all right. A girl like you. I love that. He's trying to explain to the girl that he never met a girl like her. He says, I never met a girl like you. And he means it. He's going into a trance, and she's going into a trance, another world. That's what the main point is. He's going into another world. She must have been a nice-looking girl. Up Till Now, by Willie Alexander and the Confessions. I've always loved you up till now. Could have been various things that took place, but the beat of the music has got you under its control. You can't stop your feet. Your feet belong to the music. It's me. I belong to that music. And lastly, Bass Rocks. That's all right. I like it nice. It's got a good beat to it. They just start. How long have they been around? Are they new? No, they can't be new. How long have those boys been around? Since the 60s. They're really good. I like it. I buy that. The music today is here to stay. My music's gone. I've told you that before. This is the music of now. And with that,